Hey guys, today's episode is sponsored by Melissa Flick's Author Services. Just starting out or well established, Melissa's Author Services offers both book management and virtual author's assistance at reasonable prices. Working with Melissa is one of the best parts of the day. Go to melissaflix.com, click contact, tell her what you need, and put too many words in the subject line. Do it and make your life easier and have more time to write. All right, let's do the show. What's up, guys? Jayme Bedingfield here. You are listening to my show, Too Many Words, a place for the creative and the more than slightly odd. Thanks for tuning in. How's it going? What's up? What's new? We are approaching fall. Summer is behind us. What do you have going on this week? How was Labor Day? Was everyone safe? Kind? Mine was lazy, just as it should be. I'm excited for today's show, so you guys should be too. I have my friend and partner on the Shadow Bearers, co-writer, fabulous Rebecca Clark herself. She comes on in a little bit. We talk about the Shadow Bearers. We talk about some characters, get into some details. We chat about all the fun that we're having, and then we just chat like friends do, so I hope you enjoy it. I had a ton of fun recording with her, of course, and yes, so the Shadow Bearers, first plug of the show. Go to inkshares.com and pre-order a copy of the Shadow Bearers. It's in a fantasy book contest with Geek and Sundry, and the top 3 books with the most pre-orders win. They get published. They get lots of coverage, and we want to win. And we are making a big push. We need to get in the top 10 soon. Numbers are climbing, and those books in the top 10, they have the most visibility. And yes, we want to be there. So go to inkshares.com and pre-order the Shadow Bearers. And there's going to be fun stuff coming up in the next few weeks with that, and definitely some cool stuff to check out. So stay tuned for that. And for my talk with Rebecca, which will be in a little bit after I jabber a bit and go on about some stuff. A fun treat this week is I was a guest on someone else's podcast. I went on the Geek Questioner and answered some fun questions, got into some cool stuff. I talked about being a pixie dust thief, how I like playing problem characters in D&D, and my devout love of Spider-Man, and so much more. I could talk to Charlie Hoover for hours about all things D&D. So definitely check that out. Super fun. And if you don't already, go to G Plus and look up the Geek Questioner because it is super fun. He posts new questions every day and then answers them on his show, which is what we did for part of it. So yeah, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Go to the Geek Questioner and listen to my show. It's called The Pixie Dust Thief. So, good, fun stuff. And also, my new piece for my column in the Matters of Kindness on Feminine Collective went live this week, and it is called Obsessed. And I get into my need to write, not being able to see past it, struggling with my goals and juggling life and working way too much, and I possibly admit to having a problem with that. So, yes, another revealing piece. Definitely go check that out. And one of the comments on the piece was written by Mary Rowan. I'm going to read it to you guys because I like this and it triggered some thoughts. So I'm gonna go into that. So this is from Mary Rowan. I totally relate to this, Jayme. Every question you raise, I've raised, and you didn't ask for my take on any of them, but here's what I think. The only way any writing can get done is for a writer to write. So when driven to do it, we sort of need to, as long as we're not totally neglecting other responsibilities. And I can tell you you're not doing that. But because of the way we humans are designed, most of us can't stay obsessed with writing forever, and natural breaks in the process do occur. For example, this summer I finished a manuscript. I've been hacking away at it for the past 3 years, sent it off to an editor. I know it still needs work and that I'll need to get back to it soon and bury myself again, but during this time, it's been with the editor. I've taken a big break, and it wasn't really that hard once I backed away from the laptop and breathed deeply. For the past month or so, I've immersed myself in family stuff and truly enjoyed that experience. Very little writing has gotten done, but that's okay. Writing's a weird type of job, and as you say, for most of us, it's also our hobby. So it can be really hard to find balance, and it happens though. Sometimes when I feel odd about taking a big break from writing, I think about Hemingway and all the other things he did in his life besides write. Can you imagine him if he just locked himself in a room and written all the time? Everything would have suffered, especially his work. Anyway, I've gone on far too long here, and that's how I see it. Happy writing, and when you take breaks, enjoy them. So much truth here, Mary, and I relate to a lot of it, and I love that you brought Hemingway up because I've been trying to remind myself that as well. You have to step away. And it's one of the tricky things. It's part of what makes it all, the writing gig so weird is that you are even writing when you're not physically writing, when you're thinking, when you're plotting, when you're doing something else, when I'm walking the dogs. It's living and having ideas and giving yourself room to be inspired and fill your bucket is so key, but it feels so strange. And I struggle with that is stepping away or feeling like I've done enough because the overall projects are so big. And I'm working on that. I really am. And now that we're into fall, the schedule of my life just kind of falls more into a natural routine. And I'm feeling optimistic, and it's just the first day, but I'm thinking that it will help a lot. And just staying focused. And so I've mentioned it, but I'm working on the first of a 5-book dystopian series with some very healthy prospects. And now I just have to live up to my pitch, and I'm working on it right now, and I'm having so much fun. And and Shadow Bears is like that too, which just proves to me that I'm in a happier place when I'm writing fantasy and dystopian and things not based in our current reality. It's like putting on that pair of really ripped jeans that are barely jeans anymore, or that flannel that's got paint stains and missing buttons. It's writing these books. It's like that, and it's so great. And that's what I need to focus on. Just turning off the noise and my goals, and when I am writing, and focus on those characters, focus on the story, and my only concern needs to be what I'm writing in that moment. And I'm doing a better job turning off distractions, staying in that place. And when I'm in that place, it's so great. And when I step away and I take that break, it feels so much better because I feel like I've actually accomplished something. And this week, I'm working on this dystopian more because, foot to the gas with that, and Shadow Bears as well. Rebecca and I are cleaning up chapters, getting ready to share them, putting some stuff together in hopes of drumming up some pre-orders because we need those pre-orders to win. Gotta get them. But also getting some columns and some new gigs squared away. I'm really excited about some of them expanding this little deal here, so stay tuned for those because I'm really excited. More information soon. You guys will know as soon as I can reveal such information. And but yes, so that is my solo rambling. Things are going well, things are busy, working on my perspective, enjoying the world of fantasy. And let's go to my talk with my fabulous partner in crime, the Shadow co-author herself, Rebecca Clark. Rebecca, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm exhausted and slightly overwhelmed, but I'm doing all right.
I would have to say the same for sure. It's been a crazy few weeks.
It has, and it's all feels like it's coming to a head too. It's like, and with school starting next week and my son's birthday, and I'm just like, I just need 12 more hours in the day to even come close to doing what I need to do.
Back to school and your son's birthday. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Itself.
it is.
Uh,
And I'm ready to work regular hours again because I'm getting a little weird.
yeah, for sure.
And then I
That's
can
great. Yeah,
actually
everyone will be back on a schedule.
exactly. And then evenings can go back to a time when I actually talk to my husband.
Oh, that's great.
Don't you wish
Awesome.
that you had like 5 of you?
Yes, I think life would be a lot easier.
Well, yeah, because you could have a version of yourself for every. Could have the super mom, the super
Yeah,
like
yeah. The
the
one that like cooks and
scrubs the
cleans and
toilets.
then still can work and write or read or
Exactly.
spend time by yourself for 5 minutes.
I know. I.
Any of that all sounds very appealing.
You know what I wonder though? If I had 5 of me, if we would fight among ourselves.
Yeah,
I
for
feel like I
sure. There
would.
would be wars.
Yeah.
And I also think if I had more time, even, I probably wouldn't get as much done. You know,
Yeah. There
like
is.
I think, 12 more hours sounds great a day or, a couple hours, but I think not having that time and being able to do everything you need to, I don't know. I feel like I work better under pressure with timelines, I guess you could say.
No, I do. I have to agree with you there. I mean, procrastination in general, like I push myself and I'm like I know like I get up against the gun there with the date that it's due or what it need,
What needs to be
what
done, yeah.
and I get it done. So there is that.
I even, we haven't filled out the form. I mean, my daughter's only she only goes twice a week to pre-K, just more for like socialization and getting out of the house. She calls it school. She loves school. But I've been procrastinating. We have about filling out the paperwork, and it was probably due like last week. So when we go to the open house on Thursday, it's kind of embarrassing that I'm that person that hasn't completed the paperwork. So
What? You know what?
I'm going to try to bring that in tomorrow,
It's hard.
one day before the open house.
The kid stuff is tricky.
Yeah, it's on like my to-do list, it's on the refrigerator, but something always seems to trump it.
I hear you. Well, and like
Yeah.
my daughter's school supply list, there was a couple things that I had to order on Amazon. I just couldn't find them in stores.
Oh no.
And I
Well,
keep
at least you have some time, right?
Well, and I kept forgetting, and then she was like, today, she's like, order that stuff.
Yeah. Love school supplies. That was probably the best time. The best thing about going back to school is getting all those fresh new school supplies.
Yes, it's so much fun, and like I always take the opportunity to stock up on my own pens and notebooks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But no, I love office supply stores.
I do too. I have a pen addiction.
So do
A pen
I.
addiction and a planner addiction. Very weird. I must have like a couple different types of planners. I always think I need a new one. And then if, I have a couple in circulation and some dates and some. So I'm actually really making my life more difficult, but I just have an obsession with planners.
That's interesting. I don't have the planners, but I have the pens. I have a pen obsession and addiction.
Yeah.
And my children have figured out where I keep them.
Oh no.
So I keep going to reach for a particular pen because like I need to write in a turquoise pen for certain purposes and I'm like, where is it?
And that's such a fun color for kids.
It is. Well, and it's my favorite color, so like I have like so many of like the picture frames and like all my because I have a plethora of birds tattoos in my house.
That's so funny.
They're all turquoise, so it draws them in.
Right.
I would have turquoise hair if I thought I could pull it off.
I do. I love turquoise. I'm staring at my turquoise lamp right now. It's a great color.
It is.
It
It's a happy
is.
color and it plays well with yellow.
Yeah. Oh, pink. I actually really like pink.
Yes.
I know it's kind of, cliche. Pink is, girl's favorite color, but I really love it. I can't help it.
No, I'm right there with you. I had pink hair
Oh, I like pink
for
too.
3 years.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
But Tara would not let me paint Lexi's room pink. She thought it would be a terrible idea. So it is turquoise, actually. It maybe a little turquoise, a little bit lighter. But there's pink accent.
My daughter has a pink room. She was crazy about pink, but now it's all about green. She's like, when are you going to paint my room? And I'm like, yeah, in my spare time.
It's on my list. Kids.
I know.
Stan, you have things to do, like write awesome books.
I am having so much fun writing the Shadow Bearers with you.
I know. It is. It's consuming a lot of my thoughts during the day because I'm a little obsessed with the characters.
No, me too. It's pretty much playing constantly in my head.
Yes, I think about them way too often. And I love the most recent chapter. I think it was awesome. Chapter 3 with the lockets.
I love the lockets.
I want a pet locket.
I do too.
I'm gonna try to find one.
That would be
They
cool.
just seem so magical and amazing. And you have to tell me where this idea came from.
Honestly, I've been always like magical creatures always draw me in.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, Totoro is amazing. I guess Totoro is the proper way. But no, I just love magical creatures, and I was just like, and I especially love them when they're small.
Yeah.
And I was picturing like, dirt filled tunnels and little tiny spikiness and spunkiness, not spikiness, spunky. And I was a little surprised by the lockets.
Can't wait to see their story continue. Very cool.
Well, I gotta say, Tag is he's got my attention.
Yes, I think Tag and Athea have some. I like when they meet and I'm enjoying their banter a little bit. I think it's definitely entertaining me anyway.
No, it's entertaining
so
me too.
Can't wait to share that as well.
Well, and Athea's a bit of a hothead, and Tag seems just so like, he's got his morals and he's wise, and Athea's like running on Athea's running on like raw crazy emotion. I'm it's fun to get the opposite kind of, different personalities together, and they've got that history between their tribes.
Right. Which is key for sure. And the grand scheme of things, I think that's gonna really be awesome.
Well, and we've got a dragon.
Well, yeah, so magical creatures definitely do it for me as well. I do love dragons. Unicorns, dragons. Love it.
I would love to ride a unicorn around.
Yes, I would too. I definitely, some people want horses. I would like a unicorn. I think it's that much to ask. I mean,
well, especially if you're already asking for a horse. It's not like that's an easy ask.
I know. And there's a lot of horses up this way. I'm just waiting to find a unicorn. I'm sure they're around.
I'm convinced that there are.
Yes, I am too. Man, we really are two peas in a pod.
I know, it's so well, and I think that's cool because we started Tag and Athea's story as a short story, but we started having so much fun that we just kind of ended up with something so much more.
Right.
And
I don't know if we could write a short story. I don't think we would have been able to stop ourselves.
No, I know. Well, and the world we started building was just so big. You wouldn't get enough of it if we put it in a short story.
Exactly. Yeah, I know, it's really exciting. I definitely spend a lot of time thinking about them.
Me too. Well, and I've been scrolling through different fantasy art on Pinterest, and it's like all these magical forests and stuff.
That as well.
I love it. Well, it's the world itself. I know it's a dangerous place, and the darkness is just taking shit over.
Yeah,
but it's
not messing around.
No, it's not. The goddess of the Cypherlands
itself sounds.
It just feels fun.
Amazing before the darkness, and who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll see glimpses of that in the future.
Oh, I like that. That was a good teaser, Rebecca.
I know. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, I know. But,
And
and
I
you know,
just love the cover too. Sometimes I just stare at it
me
and get
too. Oh,
inspired.
I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled with that. I mean, it's like, it's perfect.
I think so too. It's like dark but magical. Very cool.
Which it is, it bodes well because the book is dark and magical.
Hmm.
But I almost feel like, as we're writing and like I love, because like I'll put something down and I'll be like, I don't know, but I can just highlight it and be like, hey, Rebecca, what do you think? And, you know,
Yes, yeah, I like that too. Or like if I'm going off like on a tangent, and it might be late, and I'll just highlight this and be like, I don't really know if this makes any sense or if this sound ridiculous. It's nice to have someone to go back and forth with.
it is really nice. Well, and it's comforting too, because it's like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm like with the lockets, I'm like, I've lost it. This is it. I'm,
Yep, yep. No, and when I read the lockets, I was like, ah, finally, someone who gets me. I'm no longer, have to hide what I'm thinking. This is wonderful.
I know it is so nice because I mean, like, I love writing, but there's times where it's like it's very lonely,
Yeah, it
and
is
and you
very
can,
lonely.
and like I spend enough time like working on a story, and I, poke my head up and I look around, and it's like, what am I doing? I'm crazy. But no,
Yeah,
it's different working with somebody. I love it.
right. And it's like sometimes you just want to share something, but maybe the present company you're in doesn't really read a lot or just get it. And
Hmm.
when someone doesn't get it and you're trying to explain it to them, it just kind of takes away from the awesomeness of what you've just created.
No, it really does. Well, and I love it too because like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, you're like, I'm thinking about an orb, and I'm like, awesome, I've got a magical creature.
Exactly. Yep, it worked out perfectly. Yes, that orb is really has me thinking.
Do you listen to music when you write? I realized today that I didn't know that or not.
So I might sound like a bit of a stalker, but you posted a while
Well,
back, and I meant to tell you this before about Lindsay Sterling.
yeah,
Her, I didn't know who that was, never heard of her. So then I, looked on YouTube, and now I'm officially obsessed.
that's
So
awesome.
I've been listening to Lindsay Sterling, and
She's
I
great
kind of
background
just,
music.
I mean, either that or no, actually, I've listened to that a lot. Or I just put on shuffle on my music. My iTunes selection consists a lot of like Taylor Swift, or
Yes,
which I don't know why, but I just really enjoy writing to her.
I do. I do too, and especially like her album 1989, the beat of it. I just
Yeah.
get like my fingers. I think my fingers want to dance.
Yes, and I just kind of like zone out, and it just works.
Hmm. Yeah, no, she gets me at Welcome to New York and keeps me the whole album.
Right. And then sometimes Adele, I definitely have quite a few of her songs that are in the mix.
I love Adele too, but she makes me feel so emotional that I can't listen to her unless I need to be emotional. Which, like, sometimes depending on what I'm writing, I do need to like change my mood. Like,
Yeah,
if I'm too happy and I'm writing about this character who's going through a rough time, it's a great
yeah, it's
time.
hard to do.
Yeah, it's a great time to grab Adele, but I can't like, clean the kitchen and listen to Adele because I'll just, I'll cradle the Clorox wipes and start weeping.
Yes, and then I know my daughter has this new obsession with Megan Trainor, so I've been listening to that music too, which is fun because it's like upbeat and. But I don't know actually, and maybe you can answer this. When you listen to music when you write, I mean, sometimes I think I don't even hear it because I'm just so into writing. That's why I often it's just silence because I don't really hear stuff sometimes.
No, definitely. Well, I think part of why I even started is because it blacks out the rest of the world.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, it basically, I use music to help isolate myself, but I also use it to help me get into the mood. So, like, if I really need to get upset or, feel dark, or it's
yeah.
like,
I love the
I'm writing
music.
about somebody that's angsty, it's time to put on Weezer. And I think
Right,
it just
right.
helps me shift moods. And then, yeah, it does eventually fall into the background, but it helps me get there.
Yeah, like sometimes if I'm just if I am in like work mode and I go from like grading to writing, I sometimes I put like classical music on in the background, which kind of calms me down after grading and kind of sets me up to like relax and just do my own thing.
Nice.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you know what I've been listening to a lot lately is it's a soundtrack cuz I use Spotify a lot,
Yep.
and it's a playlist of all the different flute music from all the
Oh,
different
cool.
studio Ghibli movies.
Hmm.
So you got My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, and
Oh, cool.
it's very very magical. Actually, was listening to that a lot when I was working on the lockets.
Well, that's neat. I'll have to look into that.
Well, if you
You're my new music. Um, you suggest my new music for me, and I'll have to look into it.
deal, well, you should follow me on Spotify, and we can just share music.
It's embarrassing. I don't have a Spotify account, so I'll have to create one of those.
Well, I only do because I was like, I had a temper tantrum with Pandora,
Yeah.
and then iTunes cleared out some of my stuff, and I was just like, grr. Oh, well, you know what it was? Is I switched from iPhone to Android.
Oh boy,
And
it's a huge change. I just switched back from Android to iPhone, and not easy. That's not an easy.
It's not, and I didn't realize that I couldn't listen to any of my iTunes music.
Yeah.
So yeah, hence Spotify, which you can get everything but Taylor Swift. You can't get that.
Really?
Yeah, no, she doesn't work with them.
That's strange. Huh. I wonder what her reasoning is.
Probably because she makes bank in albums and she has no reason to expand her.
So much money. Why not just can't be for financial reasons? She kind of, for some reason, I didn't like her at first for a long time actually, and then 1989 happened, and big fan. But then sometimes I do read, like tabloid type stuff. I guess I'm just one of those people who eat it up. And she does really, I'm confused by her. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what to think.
She is very close to the vest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's definitely not like an obvious train wreck like some of them.
Right.
Well, and I don't like some of them do kind of present themselves in a way, and then media's crazy. Remember the whole Lindsay Lohan stuff?
Right.
I used to read gossip magazines a lot more. Now
I just get the emails, like the Us Weekly emails. So I just read the headlines, and if I must, then I'll click on the story. But
my kids with reading, I have to be careful with what I leave around.
Oh no.
Well, and at the grocery store, we were the other day, and Charlotte was just like, "Mom, both Angelina and Jen got dumped." And I was like, "Stop reading that."
Yeah.
You don't even know who these people are. She's like, "No, I don't, but they just got bumped or dumped."
Man. Yeah, that kind of makes me nervous when they can start to read.
Well, that's weird. And I mean, she's like, in general, like I can just see certain things changing, or like the shows that she's watching, and thinking like, I can tell, even though she hasn't vocalized it, I can tell she thinks this one actor is cute.
Right.
And I remember that. It's weird. But yeah, no, I was her age when I was like, oh my gosh, the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, no, totally. It's funny because Alexis is like 3.5, and she, goes to this preschool or whatnot. And I've seen like these subtle changes, and I know a lot of it is just because she's getting older, but she definitely, her vocabulary, like she says things that like we don't typically say, and she has an imagination like me, which is scary. But she was like playing with a doll, and she said something like, "Oh, my friends are killing me," or something like that, and I like freaked out. I was like, "What are you talking about? Who said that?" I was like, "What are you like?" I didn't. First of all, like I don't know, like our dog died a few months ago, but we didn't really talk about like death and dying or killing or anything like that. It's not like we watched the news with her around, so I was just like, "Who said that?" I kind of freaked out, and now that I can reflect, I clearly can't do that in the future. But
It's
I
hard.
mean, a 3.5-year-old like role playing with like a doll dying. I was like, what is going on?
I know.
Finally confessed that her dear friend at school says that those words a lot. So maybe, maybe the little girl experienced death or something. But now, like, she's like, well, what does it mean? And now I'm like, oh God, it's starting. It's
Yeah,
starting. And I'm
it
like, I
does
don't know if
start
I can
around
handle it.
then. It does start. I remember, 3.5, they start, becoming like really independent thinkers and thinking like, okay, why does this happen? Or like, I used to be so surprised. It's like, oh my gosh, they're listening to what we say. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think she hears everything, everything. So it's, yeah.
Well, and when my kids started like being aware of like people having boyfriends and stuff
Hmm.
and girlfriends, and they started talking about that. That was a big
Right.
adjustment for me because I really wanted to be like, shh, don't talk about that stuff.
I
But
know. But
it's
it's
you
like,
got
and
you
you don't
got
want to draw attention by saying, shh, don't talk about stuff, because then it's like, makes it this big thing that they want to talk about. And I know all that. So, like, freaking out is not typically a good thing.
right. Well, and I want them to feel, and I feel like I'm back in that space currently, but there was a good stretch, last year. And part of it, I think it was just I was stressed out, so I wasn't handling stuff right. But I would fly off the handle
Yeah. Yeah.
on certain things, and then they were only talking to their dad.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, they're straight up not telling me these things because they don't want me to fly off the handle. And it's like, okay. But I've been making
Right.
more
And
like
before bed, I
jokes.
was like, because it happened a few hours ago, and I was like, mad at all. I just want you to, not say things like that, or, but then I'm thinking to myself, well, is it a big deal if she's saying stuff like that? But then she doesn't really know what it means. So it's like, I'm like really making this like a huge deal in my head. And I'm going to have to figure out,
Well,
I guess what the right thing to do is when they start saying, like, and she's never like said no to me. Like, she's never been, a discipline issue or anything like that. But now she's like pushing me. And I know it's probably just the age. I heard that 3 is pretty terrible.
it is.
And she's like, no, I won't do that. And the way she looks at me, I'm like, I want to like laugh because she's so serious. But then I'm thinking, I can't believe she's actually saying that to me.
That is
So
when
it's
it
going to be
starts.
interesting.
I remember like well, 3, I mean, you hear about terrible twos.
Yeah, she's
For,
great.
yeah,
Love to.
yeah. No, for me, 3, and for the son, also 4,
Yeah.
were very trying. And yeah. Well, and then it's hard because like it's a fine line between telling them like I fear telling them stuff before they're ready.
Right.
And then part of that might be like me being oversensitive, and I think sometimes it is because like I was exposed to stuff really young that I had like no business being exposed to. So it's like I want them to not, but like
Like, be innocent. Like,
exactly.
enjoy their innocence because it doesn't last forever.
I know. I want I want
Long
to
at all.
protect it. I know.
Yeah. Even like with the whole like dog dying thing, it was, I mean, I was a mess, a legit mess. I've never had a dog, let alone have one die. So this was my first experience,
It's so
and
hard.
I was clearly a disaster and very upset. And and she would ask like, "Oh, where is he?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't want to like say he was dead or." So I said this thing that, he's up in the sky, you can say, because she's like, I want to say goodnight to him. So I said, he's up in the stars, up in the sky, and he can see you and you can say goodnight. But then it became something she did every night. I mean, she would say, like, talk to the sky. And then I'm like, oh, this is fine, right? I mean, she's only 3,
Yeah.
not a big deal. And then recently my parents went to Florida and she knew they were going in a plane. And she goes, oh, when you're up there, can you bring Hurley back?
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm thinking I really messed this up. Like, she needs to know he's not coming back. And now I feel like terrible, but I don't know.
No, well, some of that stuff, like, because I used to, I mean, especially when they were young, like, especially that age, like 3 and 4, and younger than that, that's a very delicate age. And, like, I
Yeah.
mean, and I would say crazy things, and Kevin would be like, why are you saying that to them? And I'm
Why are
like,
you
oh,
telling him these lies?
Well, yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
well, my son, we had this one rental house, and there was these drawers right next to the oven, and he knew that if he pulled them out, he could climb them like stairs.
Oh, boys.
Right? Yes. He was like 1.5, and he started doing that, and we had the stove, and I was worried. So like one time he did it, and like I basically like acted out a scene as if there was a monster that was going to come out of the oven and hurt him. But I was
I
so
could see
worried.
myself doing
I
that.
was so worried about him burning himself. Well, I mean,
Mhm.
and he stayed away from the oven for a while, and then we eventually had a talk that I was like, and with both of my kids, and that's been happening more recently, I would be like, no, that's not true. I just told you that to get you to stop doing it.
Right. How did they like that answer?
They're okay with it. They're okay with it.
It's so funny. I mean, it's like you don't know what to do. And then I'm thinking back to like what would would my parents have done? And I'm like, I don't even know if I would have even asked about this. I mean, I never had a dog. I didn't know.
Well, and that is hard. My son was, I want to say, right around 3.5, 4 when we lost our first Jake, and he was sleeping on the foot of Henry's bed. So,
Yeah.
like, that was a
That's
big, huge deal.
yeah.
And I was a mess. Well,
Well, I
it's,
even like I asked a pediatrician because I mean, so we moved. So we used to live in Massachusetts and we moved to New Hampshire, and we still go to our pediatrician in Mass because he is amazing. He can like calm me down. I'm not like crazy, crazy, but when things happen or if they're sick, I'm tend to get a little concerned. So he's like old school. He'll just say a couple words, I'll feel fine, call it a day. So when we went in for like a well visit, I mentioned about the dog, and he's like, "You did what?" And I'm like, "Oh no, was I not supposed to tell her that the dog was in the sky?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "You can't make things up. You have to just, don't give them too much information, but don't lie to them. You know, they'll figure it out eventually." And I'm like, "Oh boy." So I was thinking about that when she had asked about the plane, and then I kind of started saying, he's not coming back, and then she finally stopped, with the whole good night thing. So I think I'm gonna have to call him up, but if she continues talking about dying or killing, I don't even know. She's gonna think I'm crazy, but
well,
that's okay.
it's scary to be responsible for other lives. It's like, I don't want to screw them up.
I know, and then I don't want to say like anything bad about where she hears it from school because I don't know what those kids are going through. It's like, but then part of me is like, when do you tell a teacher something like when she's coming home and talking about that? Like that's not normal for preschool. I
Ah,
mean,
it is a
that's
little
okay.
bit. I mean, as far as like we had to deal with that stuff too. I mean, like Charlotte was being called names when she was 3.5.
Yeah,
And it's like, it does feel very accelerated compared to like, the stuff that they talk about.
it does feel accelerated. That's terrible. Oh man,
I know.
no,
Well, and it's funny. So we really are similar. So when we moved, because we were living like very close to downtown in like a Queen Anne neighborhood
yeah,
when I had both Charlotte and Henry, and I loved the pediatrician that I would then drive 45 minutes just because he could handle me calming down.
yeah. It's about 45 minutes, depending on traffic. So I try to make the appointments, at a good time for traffic wise, I guess,
I
because
love
it's only like 5 miles from Boston, so it's like, oh boy,
I love New Hampshire.
yeah, it is. It's great. I didn't appreciate it growing up at all because I just felt like trapped in this small tiny town. But now that I've explored and lived close to the city in Boston and worked in Boston and did all that, now with a family, I can appreciate the quietness and the space and the safety for sure.
It's a hard decision to make. I know we left like when it was time for us to buy, we left the city and I didn't want to. But
Yeah,
now I'm looking at it and it's like, and we're still really close, but it's so much safer.
right.
Schools are a little bit better.
Yeah,
Well, in our case, a lot
definitely.
better. Seattle school district is in a lot of trouble.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
mess. Well, and there's a whole thing that like, and I'm not going to say this properly as far as like how it's properly termed, but like basically they're Washington state education, like they're breaking the law with how underfunded education is.
I mean, I just don't understand how this can happen and how, like, they can get away with it.
I know. Well, and then they closed down a whole bunch of schools, and now all the schools, like my kid's school has like, I don't know, like 80 kids to every age group, and there's like three different classes that are all maxed out. And
Oh
like,
my
and
goodness.
last year they lost the computer lab and the stage because those had to become classrooms.
No.
And they're still building. I mean, like our neighborhood is under like major transition because the city's basically bleeding into our neighborhood. So like this
Wow.
whole section was all rezoned. So houses are now able to be taken down and apartment buildings are able to be put in their spot.
Oh, wow.
So it's like where are we going to put all these kids?
The urban sprawl.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
I
have
don't
a
know.
it's
That's
crazy.
kind of scary.
I know. Well, and we were going to move out to the
It's
country.
hard though because, I just had a conversation last night with a student's family and, and they're in more of a rural area in New Hampshire and the school's not doing what they should be doing. And I just feel like education is at like this crossroads in so many different situations. And I'm not even sure what I think would fix it, but there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of kids that, fall through the cracks. And I just don't remember this happening. I mean, then again, I guess I wasn't aware of a lot of things going through school, in high school or middle school. But I mean, never like if your son's in a class with 25 kids or more than that, that seems
Yeah, it's usually 25 to 28 kids.
that's a lot.
It what? Well, in my daughter's class last year had a lot of very strong personalities, and it was a very hard class to be
Learning
able.
environment, I'm
Yeah, it
sure.
was. And I mean, I can't homeschool them.
Yeah,
Private school is an option right now, but
right, right.
for the most part, it is good. It's overcrowded, but it is good, and the principal is pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, that's important.
And yeah, I mean, it's overall, it's a good school. It's crazy.
Well, and it's good that, you're able to, kind of check in on what they're doing and work with them like after school. I think, you being active and involved is going to really help them in this situation.
I'm hoping so.
I mean, yeah, think about the students in the same situation that are coming home or in an extended day program that don't have that, reinforcement.
Oh, well,
That's
yeah.
what
I was one of those kids, and like I had all sorts of learning disabilities that weren't, nobody was aware of, and it was crazy.
unaddressed, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I didn't do well in school, but I could have, and I certainly wanted to. Well, and I like to make cookies, so it's a good time when you got homework, make some cookies.
Oh, cookies. You make homemade cookies or the ones that I do in the bag where you just add like water and an egg?
That's what I do.
Mm, I love it.
Sometimes I get extra motivated during Christmas to like actually mix it myself.
I
Um,
actually love to do Christmas cookies. That's
well,
my
Me too, when my dogs don't eat them.
oh no. They like to eat cookies.
Well, yeah, so there's this one, it was like the first year my kids were still both napping, and we
Ugh.
had just gotten our golden retriever, and I spent their entire nap decorating these gingerbread cookies. They were gorgeous. They woke
Oh,
up from it was 4 dozen gingerbread people. I went upstairs to get them from their naps. I came back and my dog had eaten all of them.
oh my
She
goodness.
was fine, but she
Ugh.
ate all the gingerbread, and now every year she's like, she smells the gingerbread. It's like she remembers.
Oh, of course. She's
So
just waiting for you to leave the room.
exactly, no, she is. She'll like eyeball me, like, you leaving yet?
Yeah. Why are you still here? That's too funny. My dog's, medium size, so he really can't do any damage.
That's nice.
Um, so that's good. But he wants to. He definitely wants to. He actually had a vet appointment today, and they're like, "Oh, he's overweight." And I'm like, "Yeah, same as last year and the year before." And I feel terrible, but he's like a scavenger. Even if I like put him in a different room while the kids eat, which I feel terrible, so I don't really like doing that because we all eat together. Um, he just looks for food that falls on the floor, and then I catch my son, who's only one, like giving him food from his tray, like specifically for him to eat.
Yeah, we
And
have
it's
that.
like, he doesn't understand when I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah,
But
well, I have my kids do understand that, and it doesn't stop them.
I still do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and then Jake, my Roddy, what he'll do, because we have garbage cans that lock,
Oh,
um, but it doesn't matter because he'll like body slam it onto the floor and like pop it open and basically breaks the lock and eats the garbage anyway. So we have to just be super diligent about taking it out because it's like, okay, he can break into a locked garbage can. I don't know what else to do.
what else? Yeah, my brother has a dog like that. He's a Doberman, so he's a big dog. So when they leave to like go out for dinner or something, him and his wife, they'll come home and he like breaks into closets, he breaks into the trash, and they'll like, put barriers in front of like closet because that's where they keep his food. And then they'll come home and the barrier's gone, the door's open, the food's gone, the treats are all over. And he's pretty smart. He'll take treats and hide them. So he'll put some in the couch, he'll put some under like their pillows in their bed. He'll stick them, under the bed. He hides them all over the house. So he knows when he comes home and they put him away that he'll have treats.
That's funny. Yeah. No,
So
they're smart. That's smart.
I think I'm gonna start doing that with cookies. To start leaving or chocolate. I'll start leaving chocolate around the house. But, well, my daughter is the same person as me, and she loves chocolate just as much. So and I don't buy it often, but when I do, it's hard to keep it. So maybe I should just hide some around the house.
Well, I mean, I can't. Yeah, no. If there is something sweet in my house, the 10 o'clock hour hits, and I don't care. I just don't care, and I will just eat as much as available.
Yeah.
My daughter's
Yep.
been getting into baking, and she baked red velvet cupcakes,
Ooh,
and they were really
delicious.
good. And I ate like 4 of them at 10 o'clock one night, and I woke up just as if I drank a half a bottle of wine.
Yeah, the sugar hangover.
Yeah.
It feels good when you're eating it, but then it comes back to get you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's always fun though. I love Halloween. So we just got I found like these really cute cupcake kits for Halloween. So I can't wait to make those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we really love Halloween. My daughter, I mean, she's been talking about it for months about what she's going to be. And it's so funny because I was like expecting this like I don't know, like a Paw Patrol character or something, But she wants to be a witch, a traditional witch.
I
So
love
I'm like,
it.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. But she also thinks she can tell, us what we're going to be for Halloween. So I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't dress up last year, but I did promise I'd dress up this year.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We've been doing. We have nieces and a nephew, and we always do a Halloween party. So for the past 3 years, just because it's been easy, we've been zebras. Like I just everyone up in black and white, and we have ears and a tail. And so last year, our oldest niece is 8, and she was appalled. She's like, "You've been a zebra every year." So this year, we really need to bring our A game, spice it up.
Yep.
Halloween.
Halloween. Well, so we have we have more chapters coming your way.
Yes, we do.
Shadow Bearers chapters, and you go to inkshares.com and look up Shadow Bearers, and you'll find our book. And
Hmm.
if you follow it, you'll get updates, and if you pre-order it, you'll make us really happy.
Very happy. And you'll be very happy when you get the completed book.
Hmm. Beautiful cover and awesome story.
Very. And follow us too on the Facebook page. There's a link on InkShares. And it's just the Shadow Bearers. So that would be cool to check out too.
Definitely. Do it, guys. Do it up.
Follow us.
Yes. Well, Rebecca, this was fun as always. And I mean, I'll be chatting with you in a little bit because story planning, I love it.
Yes, it
It's
is
so
so much
fun.
fun. It really is.
Can you tell everybody where to find you?
You can find me on Facebook or Twitter. Rebecca, I think, Rebecca underscore
Author.
Yep, that's me on Twitter. I can link from there. You can link to my Facebook page, and obviously the Shadow Bearers will have my information as well on Ink Shares.
Do it.
Yes.
Well, thanks. You're awesome, Rebecca.
You too. It was great chatting.
It was.
And I am sure we will discuss lockets and other mythical, magical creatures later.
Indeed. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
And that wraps it up for now, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are awesome. Love all the support, shares, comments. It all rocks. Go follow me on Twitter at MeBettingfield. Follow the show at Twitter at Too Many Words Pod. Go to inkshares.com, look up the Shadow Bearers, and pre-order your copy. Help us rise to the top and tell your friends. You can read my column in the Matters of Kindness on Feminine Collective, and have a good week. I will talk to you soon.